Oh, I suppose this is one way to check your fitness level. I want to talk about what's happened in Canada, the trucker convoy. Trucker convoy was a peaceful protest against tyranny, and our government reacted with more tyranny, freezing bank accounts, threatening people with jail sentences, arresting people, putting them on shit lists, hate lists. They're hate lists. Interfering with freedom of speech. And for a while, Canadians had such good reason to be so proud of ourselves. Because we actually did that. The biggest trucker protest in the history of the world by far. It was the biggest in history by far, like 2 or 3 days before they reached Ottawa. We had the world's attention. We had the world's attention, and they'll probably forget. They're going to forget our proudest moment. Aside from World War II, that was our proudest moment. Better in some ways. To think that any Canadian would have missed that, like, okay, the homeless, they accused us of waving Nazi flags and stealing food from the homeless and being a threat to democracy. They were calling them a threat to democracy while they were, the homeless were never better fed in there. And the crime rate was never lower. Of course not. We had to look a little bit sane. Okay, yeah, the horns were too much. But we had to keep it together. Minus 25, and those guys are standing out there for days at a time, man. That was absolutely epic. This shall not be forgotten. We should have a monument to this. There should be a monument somewhere to that, for sure. Lest we forget. The Second World War ended in 1946, I believe. And we need something more up to date. This makes perfect sense. We'll never forget that. Although it will be pushed down the rabbit hole. I'm doing that already. What's going to occupy the space is Ukraine. Nobody's talking about all the money that arms manufacturers are going to make off of this stupid deal. Trump wouldn't have done it. He would have. What he was saying is that Europe has to buy its oil from the United States, not Russia. We're not going to defend you. And then he wouldn't have fed much into NATO, and NATO is what threatened Russia. He wouldn't have put as much money into it, and then he himself would not have been aggressive at all. This Ukrainian crisis that is going to kill so many people and misdirect so many funds and create so much hostility and take our ball away from what the real challenge is, which is our own lack of understanding of anything about our own civilization even. And China, this is your fault. If you didn't get with the program, to whatever extent you maybe only vote, but this is your fault. People that didn't get on board with the trucker convoy, wow. You made a big mistake, man. And it's going to become just that much clearer over the next few months and years if proper attention can be paid to it. The number of times that they just broke the law. The Emergency Act, there's no emergency. You can't bring in the Emergency Act if there's no emergency. You didn't allow any parliamentary discussion on it. You don't allow parliamentary discussion on anything. Wake up. The educational systems are run by feminists. And this is what you get. You get a population that would vote for Sock Boy three times. We voted for him 3 times. We were the biggest idiots in the world. Around the world, people look at Canadians, they go, nice people, a bit slow. Really a bit slow, okay? And having elected him was the lowest point. He's the most ridiculous political leader in history. Like, literally the most ridiculous political figure in history. Nobody acted like a narcissistic girl. All the dancing around he did in India and all those things. Oh my God. And then the thing is that he's actually the meanest one. He's the one that will bring in tyranny the fastest. We're getting rid of him now. There's no chance of him surviving this. The worry is that it'll go to somebody in that party is even worse.